it's not just mushrooms. Anybody listening to this can relate. There's something in their life where they realize that they're actually some sort of a topic expert. And it's actually really easy in today's world to become a topic expert in something specific. And then they realize most people don't know about it. And I think at that point, you can have anxiety over it, or you can see it as an opportunity to do good for the world. And I saw it more as an opportunity. So I never felt anxiety over it.
You're listening to the Almost 30 podcast, a lifestyle podcast hosted by Krista Williams and Lindsay Simsick.
Tune in for a new episode every Tuesday to hear our honest conversations about topics like wellness, entrepreneurship, spirituality, and self-development with guests who are really smart, really inspirational,
and really fucking funny. It's real, it's raw, and it's unfiltered.
Inspired by our transition from our 20s to our 30s, we realized it's so much more than that. Our mission is to provide you with the tools, guidance, and motivation to help you navigate any transitions in your life and propel your personal growth.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Almost 30 podcast.
Here we go.
This episode is brought to you by Sigmatic. Sigmatic makes drinking mushrooms and superfoods delicious and easy to do. They have mushroom coffees, mushroom superfood blends, mushroom elixirs, and they have them for at-home and easy single-to-use packets that you can take anywhere with you.
Yeah, and they use the magic of functional mushrooms like reishi, chaga, cordyceps, and lion's mane. I currently am obsessed with the lion's mane. It's for brain function and clarity. It's really helped me if I have to get work done for like 2 hours. Just take a little lion's mane.
I love it.
Yeah, it's
and it has
so
ashwaganda in it, which I don't think I said that right.
in the superfoods.
Yeah, in the superfoods, and I think in the brain.
Oh, really?
One they do.
Oh,
so it's like a really nice energy boost. You just feel really great through the day. And another one of Sigmatic products that I just ate was the mushroom chocolate. So it has a little bit of their reishi mushrooms, cordyceps, chaga, shiitake, lion's mane, a bunch of their mushrooms with a low sugar, high healthy fat chocolate. So they have tons of amazing medicinal mushroom products that you can get on forsigmatic.com.
So go to forsigmatic.com/almost30 to get 15% off your first order. That's Forsigmatic, FOURSIGMATIC.com/almost30 for 15% off.
We are so excited.
I don't think I've been more excited for something in a very long time.
Yeah. Guys, we're going to be at this event and we really want you to come.
We really want you.
It's going to be dope. It's called Yeah Field Trip. Yeah, YEAH, Field Trip. And go to yeahfieldtrip.com to check it out. But it's going to be major. So it's a 5-day, 4-night event for creators, for artists, for entrepreneurs, for anyone that wants to be in the creative space or is in the creative space. This allows you an opportunity to connect with other badass, like-minded individuals in a beautiful setting in California with amazing shared meals and all of the things. You can learn, you can grow, you can kind of expand your mind at this event. And we are so freaking pumped to be there.
It's kind of like the Coachella for like creatives who want to like just freaking learn.
Yeah.
Nonstop and be inspired. It's going to be at El Capitan Canyon, which is gorgeous, super unplugged setting. You know, this is not going to be like social media'd out, you know, it's going to be super unplugged, which will be so nice. Like, I think you should go to the website, basically, yeahfieldtrip.com, and just kind of peruse, and you'll see what we're talking about. It's going to be dope.
You can check out the menu. You can check out the schedule, which has amazing speakers like Beat Simkin, who we just did our event with. So check out the schedule. Check out where it is, El Capitan Canyon, California. It is happening on February 22nd through 25th, 2018. So you can get your 26, actually. You can get your tickets online. You can check out all the information, and we will be there. So go to Yeah Field Trip, check it out. Let us know if you have any questions, and we are so excited to see you there.
And you can use our code almost30 for $100 off the ticket price. So again, our code almost30 for $100 off the ticket price. yeahfieldtrip.com. Cannot wait to see you. Hey, it's Krista and Lindsay.
Hey, guys.
Welcome to the Almost 30 podcast.
We're so glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks
if it's
for
your first time,
us.
welcome to the Almost 30 podcast. We are extra glad you're here. We are.
Yes, we are.
We are a podcast of many things. I was in Alabama all weekend, so I've been
What do they talk like?
Real countrified.
Yeah, I don't even know.
It's hard. It's hard.
Bama.
Yeah, it's hard. They're like, all right, get behind that pickup truck and we're going to, it's like real quick too.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But everyone, it was interesting. Everyone was like more fashionable than I thought.
Cool.
Everyone was wearing bell bottoms.
Really?
I thought that was like
I wore bell bottoms yesterday.
Same. I thought that was like a Cali trend right now.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is if you're in a sorority or fraternity, you dress up for the football games. So we went to a football game. They were all like dressed up.
I would be like extradited.
I would not want to do that. I just was like, it looks bad because, well, everyone looked great, but it looks bad because you look at the student section and everyone's wearing normal clothes. So you're like, where's the school spirit?
Yeah, totally.
You know?
Yeah, give me a t-shirt and a crew neck.
You need to wear like a special t-shirt.
What was like the occasion?
Oh, Justin went to Auburn University, War Damn Eagle. And we went to the game, War Damn Eagle, and they beat them real bad.
Oh, sweet.
It was the upset in the SEC. No one expected it.
You know, being around dudes, friends, boyfriends of the past, whatever, it's like their moods sometimes. I get nervous when there's sports games on that are really important to them because if
he was talking shit to
lose
18-year-old boys behind him. It was really fucking weird.
I love that.
The little boys were like, they scored a touchdown within the first 2 minutes. Georgia did. And the boys were like, smooth like butter, because they were Georgia fans. Justin was like pissed.
He's like, shut up, you asshole.
Literally. So then when Auburn started scoring, he's like, let's go. I was like, what is that? Who is my boyfriend right now?
He's like, smooth like butter.
Literally, like was talking so much shit. These little boys were literally 18 years old, blacked out.
Damn. Yeah, I see it weird before games.
It is.
Yeah.
But it was amazing.
That's so great.
Sports are fun.
What a great girlfriend.
I'm a great girlfriend.
That's great.
Yeah, we went to like, Chili's for dinner and stuff. It was like very...
You're like, do you have vegan chili here?
Literally, it was very off-brand. This weekend was very off-brand. Our guy friend TJ, actually, I was talking to him before the game. He was like, yeah, I was so curious of what you were going to do this weekend, like what you were going to share. He's like, I don't know how you were going to make this like blogified. I was like, I don't even know.
It was kind of cool though. I like loved.
Yeah.
We shared a little something on our Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/almost30, we shared a little bit of like what we were doing this weekend, like real time. And Krista was at the game. It was hilarious, but it's like fun. Like that's so fun. That's you too.
It was so fun.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to hop into this episode. This week we have on Tero Isokauppila. Whoa. It's really hard to say his last name. It's Finnish. So anyway, Tero is the founder and president of Sigmatic, which is a natural superfoods company specializing in mushroom-based drink powders. Krista and I have been talking about it. Hope you're not sick of it yet, but this company is really groundbreaking. I mean, mushrooms have been used for thousands of years, but they are making it accessible to people. Tero grew up in Finland. He's so damn smart. Like I almost like, I was just like staring at him. He probably thought I was like creepy. But I was like, there's so much coming out of your mouth. Like it's so thorough the way that
I love that.
he talks about the mushrooms, but in such a way that I was like, oh, wow. Like this is something, one, that I can incorporate into my everyday life. And two, like I had no idea. And how did I miss this? Like I want to be on every wellness train there is.
Dude,
and this 100%. One is a big one that's going to be around forever. So yeah, so this episode is just Tero and I actually in my apartment.
Chilling. Doing the damn thing.
Yeah, it's great.
Yep. So I couldn't make this one, but Lindsay killed it with him. And I'm so excited for you guys to listen because mushrooms are the next big thing. And I seriously love my Sigmatic products. Yeah. I love the chaga tea. I love the lion's mane tea. I drink the sleep powder before bed. So I have amazing, like fun dreams. Oh my God. My dream last night, this is actually hilarious, was that we were having an almost 30 event.
Yeah.
So we're having an event and tons of people are there and you come up to me and you're like, we don't have any food for the event.
That's my nightmare.
Actual nightmare. So I'm like, okay, shoot, I'm going to order pizzas. So my
off-brand.
My entire dream was me looking through a pizza menu.
Oh my God.
I was going back and forth. I'm like, cool, we'll get the spinach salad. We'll get the margarita. The entire dream was looking through a pizza menu.
God.
We'll get the margarita pizza. Okay. And I was like looking back at my cart. I'm like, I have 3 salads, 4 pizzas. No joke.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy? But
we care a lot.
We care a lot about you guys. But it was a peaceful dream. So I love taking their sleep stuff right before bed. I love taking the brain stuff in the morning just to keep me sharp. And we're so excited to kind of share why mushrooms are the next big thing.
Yeah, we talk about the top 4 mushrooms that Sigmatic uses in their products. We talk about recipes. So Tero has a new book out, Healing Mushrooms, a practical and culinary guide to using mushrooms for whole body health. It's just really exciting. You can incorporate this into your everyday life for physical performance, for cognitive ability and longevity. So no matter what age you are, no matter like what your daily routine is, this is something that you can use. And I was just blown away. So here you go. Our interview with Tero.
Enjoy.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me on.
So much for being here. I'm riding solo today. I get you all to myself. And I'm just so happy. I started using Sigmatic about a little over a year ago. And it's completely changed the way I feel, the way I think, and it's been a gateway for me into the health and wellness space. Health and wellness and nutrition. I think as a fitness professional, as part of one of my, hats that I wear, I kind of was thrusted into it and didn't know how to deal with a lot of the effects. So my adrenals were overworked, all of that. And Sigmatic products have really helped me to deal with the stress on my body.
Yeah, that's underrated, is the fact that physical stress is still stress. And as a normal person, it's probably good to sweat, that hour a day or whatever. But if you're a professional and you do it, 4, 6, 7, 8 hours a day, that's a lot of physical stress, a lot of inflammation. Like adrenal fatigue it's a real thing, then it's a different environment. And it's, if you do SoulCycle, that's pretty intensive as well. So it's not just like subtle exercise, like a yoga teacher show a couple poses, but it's like full on,
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, when I didn't know a lot of, what we know now, and I think moving to LA definitely kind of opened my eyes to this whole world, but I just turned to coffee. I would turn to, before coffee, the Adderall, the this, the that, the alcohol, whatever it was to stimulate me. And it would always be so temporary and so quick. And we would have that fall. And I think it, not only has my gut health changed, but the mental health as well. So
how did you come across this?
I was in New York visiting. So I was going back to New York, and a friend of mine, she is a yogi there. She's a teacher. And I knew her as, one who was like kind of addicted to coffee earlier on in our friendship. And she was dealing with a lot of anxiety. And so I guess a friend of hers had introduced her to Sigmatic, and it completely changed her energy.
Yeah.
It was no longer this like frenetic, out of control, go, go, go. It was a more grounded, sustainable energy. And it was just like really nice to see her. As a yoga instructor, you'd think, oh, well, that's just how they are. They're very grounded. But in New York, it's hard. It's really hard to be grounded and not be affected by all of the, the sounds, the concrete, all of these things kind of coming at you day to day. So it was really cool to see that. So when I saw her, I was like, you're different. Why are you different? She's like, I'm pretty sure it's the mushrooms. I was like, what do you mean?
What kind of mushrooms?
Yeah, literally. I know. We'll talk about that too.
So what's your favorite?
So recently my favorite has been the reishi. Is that how you pronounce it? I know it's pronounced
either way. It's
ways.
a Japanese name. Nobody does it right.
Reishi.
Rishi, whatever. I just say rishi.
So it's been, I have no problem sleeping, but I find that at the end of my day, I'm always kind of going, and if I teach at the end of the day, my body is buzzing. So it's been really, really grounding. I kind of have like a lot of fire in me, like the pitta, if we're talking Ayurvedic.
I can tell.
So it's super grounding and really nice at the end of my day. And I actually turned my mom onto it. She's like, is this like chocolate milk? I was like, no, Mom. But if you want to make that like connection, it kind of has that grounded, like kind of chocolatey for me. And I mix it together with the new superfood blend, the reishi superfood blend.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into it.
Sure.
Fascinated by your story. I would love for you to paint a picture of growing up in Finland. I know you've been foraging mushrooms as well as other superfoods that we know now for a long time, and we're exposed to them very early on. So if you could paint that picture for us.
Well, Finland is a small country next to Sweden in Northern Europe, where most people are blonde and blue-eyed.
Just us.
There's a lot of forests, a lot of lakes. There's actually the most amount of lakes probably in the world and islands. There's something like 180,000 islands, and you grow up in an area where basically I showered in spring water. We would drink spring water. We would shower in spring water. There's a lot of berries, a lot of shoots and leaves, but also mushrooms. And I grew up on a farm that me and my family has had at least 13 generations, and would go out foraging for mushrooms and berries, mostly with my mom. That's actually the thing that gets underestimated. Something about the superpowers of women. It's this hunter-gatherer thought is like, oh, men are the hunters, but women are the gatherers. Women had a lot of the mushroom knowledge, a lot of the berry knowledge, a lot of the herbalistic knowledge was with women, because they would go around the village or the camping grounds collecting things and making medicine out of them. So, in a way, women are the original shamans and healers in multiple facets, not just nutrition, but they're the carers. So my mom would teach me and my brother just to kind of forage and get stuff. And then out of my dad's side family, our great-great-grandfather started this environmental school where we would build nests for owls and eat organic food. And summer project, in order to get to the next grade, you had the summer to dehydrate 100 plants and name their Latin names and all kinds of stuff. So went through that.
I think I had to grow lobsters for a summer project. Do you know what I mean?
Chia seeds.
Yeah, these Frankenstein lobsters. Okay. That's incredible.
But yeah, summer, there's 24 hours of sunlight. Oh. There's no night. Winters, it's kind of opposite, a little dark. A lot of snow, pretty cold. It's like Alaska, kind of growing up in Alaska. So it's a small country. Everybody knows each other. If they don't, they know someone who knows someone. So every person in the country is basically one person away. And that makes, the Nordic model and Nordic society is very, there's a lot of focus on education, environmental values. A lot of the time I was living there, a woman was the president or the prime minister of the country. So I think that's also a little different, especially now, pretty timely. What's happening in the U.S. is just something that we grew up with. I didn't even know that there was another way, so to say. So,
wow. So growing up that way, how did that influence your track? And I know it hasn't been straight to where you are now, growing up so connected and appreciative of the earth, of the elements. How did that kind of take you to, I know you ended up in the tech space for a little bit.
Yeah.
So how did that maybe take a back seat, or how did it influence it? Was it always on your mind? Was it something that you knew you would come back to?
Yeah. So my mom taught nutrition and physiology and anatomy. So from my mom's side, I got that nutrition and health bug. And my dad is he's an agronomist, so he's a professional soil expert and a tree expert, and that's where I got the agriculture side. But our farm happens to be in the lake area it's a super small town, but it's next to Nokia, Finland, the phone where I'm originally from. So there's a lot of high tech in Finland. I had my first computer in early 90s. I was barely able to write, and I was already developing. And in the late 90s, we did e-learning. So my teacher was in another town and we would learn through video. And early 2000s, I got my first smartphone. First technology was VAP. You couldn't even go to a browser. So those are the three things I grew up with. But to your point of appreciating it, I didn't appreciate it. I wanted to be a pro athlete and travel the world. And that was the space. I was interested in human performance, and about 14 years ago, by random accident, my friends became pro athletes, and I had injured myself. So I couldn't, and I probably never was that good. But I could help them in nutrition, because a lot of athletes actually don't have a clue. You probably can relate to this as a fitness teacher as well. It's hey, there's a lot of people who are really fit, and they're beasts in whatever discipline they do.
Mm-hmm. And they're still taking C4 and these synthetic blends of...
Yeah, they use either the pre-workout booster, the caffeine track, that's a one path, The other is like this, they're already inflamed and then they push themselves with like really low quality proteins that actually can cause increase inflammation as well. Or they just like full on just eat whatever they want because they think like the calories in, calories out is like the story of longevity. So they're like, if I do 4 workout classes a day, then I can definitely eat McDonald's and all the other stuff that comes with it, not just calories that you're taking in. So I could help my friends, and so that was already there. But when you grow up that way, I guess anybody, if you grow up a certain way and you're not exposed to other ways of living, it's hard to like, there's no grasp. So, you know, living around the country, around the world, anything from living in like Paris or Vancouver, Canada, or Manila, Philippines, or Hong Kong, or Melbourne, or Milan, or whatever, where I've lived over the years, it's shown me different ways how people live, and especially living in big cities like New York City, LA, London, to a certain extent also Paris, Melbourne, Hong Kong. I saw how a lot of people were stressed out, and it was like a fairly new thing for me. I was like, it was the pace was different, so I had to adjust, but it was also like understanding that, hey, not everybody's like, to what I thought was totally normal was not normal to a lot of people. So even what I considered the fundamentals of hydration and, you know, and things like that, healthy fats or whatever, people didn't know. And it was like, I was blown away by it, and just understanding also like, hey, this is an area where I can help others. And when I started my first mushroom venture about 12 years ago, there was a less clear path on how that would be a way of making income. You know, I think internet has opened a lot of early stage young companies changing the world for the better. And they're like the big food companies are just have been really hurt. They lose like, I think last year they lost 4 billion market cap because people are like fed up and like, I don't want to buy from a faceless corporation. And all these like small to medium brands and companies are emerging, doing something very specific, something cool, something better for you, something more transparent. And they're trying to make the world a better place, and people have access to them through the internet. So when I started, that was not really the case. There was no Web 2.0. There was no even blogs were not there. Even though MySpace was not there yet. So
Really?
Maybe it was.
If I ever found
AOL was for sure.
If I ever found my
12
own
years ago.
MySpace. No. Someone needs to burn it.
Yeah, but so I made my living while traveling around the world by working in a university, in a large tech company, whatever. It was more like an excuse to move to a new country almost, and somebody paying for it. And then about 5-6 years ago, started the company named Sigmatic, and then it's been full on ever since.
So I'm so interested, you know, when you have so much knowledge about something like mushrooms and the mushroom kingdom, and kind of almost like seeing the power and knowing that not a lot of people know about it yet.
Yep.
Does that feel like, was it exciting? Was it this big responsibility that you just felt that was like kind of the energy behind what you were doing? Was it overwhelming? You know, and also, did you have kind of like a vision? Like when you realized that like not a lot of people knew about this, and that this could become, you know, a way in which people could enhance their everyday lives, their physical performance, all of those things.
I've always been a believer in the mushrooms, and as the more you study them, the more you become a believer. But there's an epiphany when you're like, okay, a lot of people know this. And it's not just mushrooms. Anybody listening to this can relate it. There's something in their life where they realize that they're actually some sort of a topic expert. And it's actually really easy in today's world to become a topic expert in something specific. And then they realize most people don't know about it. And I think at that point, you can have anxiety over it, or you can see it as an opportunity to do good for the world. And I saw it more as an opportunity. So I never felt anxiety over it. And also, I just want to point out that I don't think mushrooms and the mushroom kingdom is better than other kingdoms like plants and animals. What I'm saying is that they're just underrepresented. They're overlooked. Nobody's really speaking for them. So I'm just trying to like support the little guys. Yeah.
And why is that? Why are they understudied?
So, and maybe I should clarify, they're overlooked in the Anglosaxon culture. So in the UK, the US, in Asia, they're widely consumed. There are a lot of other cultures around the Slavic. You talk to somebody who was from, let's say, Ukraine or Russia, and they will say, yeah, our parents went foraging all the time. It's like the most normal thing. It's specifically Anglo-Saxon culture. And why is that? We don't really know. There's a couple theories, though. And these are pretty fascinating. One of the theories is that there was, because not all mushrooms are good. So the kingdom of fungi, the kingdom of mushrooms, is the same way as kingdom of plants. Some plants kill you, some plants heal you. So if you're like a proponent of plant-based diet, you're still going to have to acknowledge the fact that a lot of the plants in the world can straight up kill you or hurt you. The same with mushrooms. So there might have been a mold, which is in buildings and other places like that killed a lot of people. So then that's why people got scared. We know that UK, where a lot of the traditions, obviously in the US, are also coming from, it's really damp. So there's a lot of moisture. So maybe a lot of the buildings or something, there was like a deathly type of a fungi spreading around and people got scared of it. The second theory, which is more fascinating, relates to women, is like I told you the women were the kind of the gatherers of, and they did a lot of the herbalism. And a lot of indigenous cultures used, mushrooms for healing. We even know that the Iceman Otzi that they found frozen in Austrian Alps had mushrooms with them, but they were also used by indigenous cultures on the psychedelic part. Either way that may be, there was a point when this witch hunt happened, when this like pagan traditions of healing, of natural healing, kind of butted heads with the more formal Christianity that was a certain economic union at that point. And this witch hunt happened, and everything that women did were kind of considered, anything that were outside the box, even temporarily, even to maybe like essential oils, were considered demonic, and they were like really bad for you. And at that point, probably mushrooms got banned as well because they were part of that traditions, and women were considered witches. So that's the other theory, but truly nobody knows.
People are always afraid of the ones that know the most.
Yeah.
Okay, so many places to go. We're going to get into the book in a moment. It's so beautiful. Can you kind of, for our listeners who know nothing about mushrooms and the power that they hold, can you kind of deconstruct the mushroom kingdom into, I know, for Sigmatic, I know of, and correct me if I'm wrong, like uses these 4 main mushrooms, right?
Yeah.
Sort of. I'm like speaking as a layman. I'm like, tell me I'm right. Chaga, lion's mane, reishi, and what am I forgetting?
Cordyceps.
Cordyceps, thank you. Most important.
Those are the top kind of functional mushrooms.
Sure.
So there's other great culinary mushrooms that also hold functional benefits like shiitake and maitake and gnocchi that a lot of people might be familiar. But if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't know, mushrooms are not really into it. I don't like portobello. I don't like the texture or the flavor, or I'm not into psychedelics, and why would I care? I guess there's like a few messages that try to talk beyond anything related to the company. Is one that these mushrooms are a kingdom. They're not a subgroup of plants. So they're way more than just something you put on top of your pizza, right? So mushrooms actually cover, for just to give you a few facts.
I love these facts. I know they're coming, and I'm blown away.
So let's talk environment first. About 25% of the Earth's biomass is mushrooms. So a quarter of the Earth's biomass is basically mushrooms. So that's pretty fascinating. All plants, basically, almost all plants require mushrooms to collect water. And that's pretty massive. And there's like 6 times more different types of mushrooms or fungi than there is different types of plants. So there's a huge diversity there. They can clean oil spills. They can even eat plastic, which is the latest discovery. And we've only discovered a fraction of them. So it's totally like there's a lot of more to learn. And from the human health point of view, we share almost half of our DNA with mushrooms. So we're all listening, we're half mushrooms. So mushrooms and animals were used to be...
I knew it.
Totally. You're a fungi.
Explains a lot.
Yeah, of the behavior. So, and that just means because the DNA similarity, we're very prone to fungal disease, such as candida, that a lot of people suffer, or molds in buildings that we talked about. But we can also use mushroom, quote unquote, medicine, because it's really bioavailable for us. Like mushrooms are one of the only non-animal-based sources for vitamin D. And so that's pretty dope. And then about half of the best-selling drugs right now in the world utilize fungi. So penicillin is one thing, but there's also a lot of immunosuppressants for like autoimmune and all that kind of stuff that mushroom medicine is out there. And so altogether, about half of the bestsellers use fungi, and of all the drugs, about 40% utilize fungi. So it's just pretty mind-blowing what they can do. But I I think they're just pretty overlooked. Like right now, as we're taping this, we're breathing in mushroom spores that people don't realize that. If you go on a weekend and you got a little rah-rah and you get a little beer and wine, it took mushrooms to create beer and wine, or bread, which nobody ever eats, right? Or cheese.
No, not me.
So all of those require fungi to be made. And so they're literally everywhere. And both the planet requires them and us humans can benefit from them. Like I said, I don't think they're better than other kingdoms, but they're clearly overlooked and they offer a lot of promise and they're so simple. So instead of focusing if there's 1.5 million types of fungi, you can just focus on the top 4, like we discussed. Same way as like if you want to add, if you've been grown up in the so-called SAD diet and you've been eating meat and potatoes and you're like, okay, I want to add a little more vegetables into my diet. I'm not ready to go vegan right yet, but let's just, balance it out a little bit. You don't have to go and learn 50 types of vegetables in the store. Like, what if you just like guacamole? Let's do the avocado route. Let's do that and figure out what else is good for you. A cucumber maybe, or berries, putting berries in a smoothie or whatever that may be. Mm-hmm. So the same way, you don't have to learn mushroom number 57 or 22 or even mushroom number 11. If you just learn those 4 or even 2, the king and queen of mushrooms, reishi and chaga, and learning those, or going to the grocery store and getting a shiitake, and instead of using a meat one day, you just saute shiitake and get your protein from that. So
I know in the book you have the top 10 that you're kind of using in cooking. What are your favorite 3 of those? Like that you're using
cooking?
Right now? Yeah, for cooking. Ones that people
Maitake, which is also known as hen of the woods. I like that. It's very delicious. So, high heat with lipids, fats, just sauteing that, it gets all crispy and, that's just super delicious.
So the mushrooms respond to
They like heat and oils.
Okay.
So you shouldn't eat mushrooms raw, generally speaking. So they're actually not bioavailable raw. So you should saute them, or you should apply heat and fats into them and to kind of unlock their superpowers. So that's why a lot of chefs do use them and cook them in high heat in soups or saute them in butter or oil, like I said. And that's one of the ways how you can make them bioavailable. So I would say maitake to cook with. I really love that. I mentioned shiitake. You can make a lot of delicious shiitake stuff. And then kind of a surprising one is the lion's mane, which is good for the brain. And you can make amazing, like a lion's mane pad thai or a lion's mane pancakes or whatever. And it helps with brain power, basically, and nervous system. So very important things for obviously everyone's life today is just what is required from us. What I've kind of seen is just every year more and more. You have to be professionally better, and then you have to have a big social following, and then you have to travel all these cool places that everybody keeps talking about, and you have to read this book and that book and see this TV show and binge watch that series, and you have to be an even better friend to your friends, and you have to be a great partner, and just what is required from us is getting kind of out of hand. So having obviously getting crisp with the fact that you can do everything, but also having a couple superpowers and weapons for those tough days that you really need to perform. So
yeah, let's talk about being in the wellness space.
Yep.
I feel like some days, Krista and I talk about this, we're like, is it enough? Like, what are we doing enough? Like, is there something else we could try today? Like part of our regimen, especially in LA. I feel like, someone's always talking about the next thing. So was there, when you launched for Sigmatic, was there a kind of a plan or a foundation in place so that, you wouldn't become this trend that would kind of come and go, like that it would be something that people could really use for their whole life, incorporate it in that way? Yeah.
So sometimes like reporters ask me is like, hey, mushrooms are now all the craze. And like, next year will be there a new thing? So I kind of joke is that, well, they've been here 2.4 billion years, mushrooms, at least. And first billion years, they ate rocks. So I just kind of feel that they're going to be here next year as well. And, they'll be here a long time. We might not, as humans. We might be going.
Could they eat us? I guess they could. If we were not living.
They can decompose us, but they're not going to take over you. So mushrooms actually decompose a lot of things that belong and don't belong in nature, like we discussed the oil spills and and plastic. But so I don't think there's nothing fad about them. I mean, obviously some companies promote them that they're like a cure-all, which they're not. But I mean, they're, because of the pharmaceutical connection and a few other reasons, they're among the most studied things for our health. So if you're paleo or vegan, you can benefit from them. If you're on a gut-friendly diet or keto diet, you can use them. So they're incredibly nutrient dense and suit all the common diets. So I don't think they're a fad. I don't think they're like a super berry from Amazon that is supposed to cure all your issues. I think they're the real deal. That being said, obviously you have to make them in a form of has compliance. I think we've all been there when we get excited about a powder or a capsule and we order it, and gummies that make your skin better or hair better or whatever the latest thing may be.
And I passed on those.
Yes, good for you. So, or whatever the thing that we might be excited, in order to make it consistent, you have to somehow bring it to some person's like daily life. And like the mushrooms are not going to help you unless you consume them. Same way as, Soul Cycle might be great, but if you don't go to the class, it's not going to help you, So for that reason, it's important to have compliance. And that's what I'm being obsessed about. What are the flavors and the methods, like making mushroom coffee instead of forcing you to have like a really bitter elixir that nobody ever has. So like trying to find ways, or a hot cocoa. So it tastes like milk chocolate.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot easier for people to consume. And I'm not excited about spending my lifetime educating people who already are in the know. So if you're part of that 0.1% of health experts that always chase the latest and greatest biohacking tool, that doesn't excite me. My excitement is like a person who's right now having Folgers coffee or Swiss Miss and getting them super upgraded without them even knowing that they got super upgraded. They went from 2G to 4G and they didn't even know it. But they're like, oh, this is pretty good. Like, yeah. So that's what excites me and gets me up every day.
Has there been a story that has come to you, an email or a letter from someone whose life has been changed by the Four Sigmatic?
Yeah,
products?
like a lot.
I know it's always, but is there something?
So it's kind of like mind-blowing, actually, like how many people we now reach. And especially in the last year, it's kind of blown up a little bit. And we have this contribution program also that relates to cancer. And we work with this Boarding for Breast Cancer organization on cancer awareness. And those are always the most touching ones. They're like, you hear stories of what they've gone through, and those are the pretty powerful ones. But yeah, I mean, we have the Shroom Club, for example, this private Facebook group. There's about 10,000 people. So whenever I go and see anything there, it's almost every time somebody shares a story how things have changed. So yeah, I see them all the time, and then you never get bored of it.
This episode is brought to you by
FabFitFun.
Oh man, we rehearsed that for 3 solid minutes.
Yeah.
FabFitFun is a seasonal subscription box for busy gals like us. It's so cool because we're discovering these amazing brands and products for our life, a well-lived life, but they're full size. So normally boxes are sample size. And I'm like, more.
Yeah.
But these are full-size fashion, beauty, home, fitness, and wellness products delivered to your door 4 times a year for just $49.99.
What I love about it is that it doesn't come every month, so there's no pressure. You're not like, I have so much stuff, because that's how I feel sometimes.
Yeah.
I have so many products. I love that it's seasonal. So with each season, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, winter is coming. Winter's here. So I have all these cool full-size products, like $200 worth of products that come straight to your door for $49.99.
It's awesome. So if you use our promo code, which is almost30, ALMOST30, if you go to fabfitfun.com, you can get $10 off your first box. So that's $39.99 for over $200 worth of awesome stuff. Fabfitfun.com. Use our code almost30 to get $10 off your first box. We're so excited for you guys to try this. So let us know when you get it and what you love. we interrupt this episode to bring you a word from our sponsor, BioClarity. You guys, it works.
Yeah, it really works.
It really does work.
Period, the end. I put so it's a 3-step process. These containers, one's the cleanse, 2 is the treat. So it helps battle blemishes, and then it reduces inflammation, helps shrink your pores. And then there's the 3, which is the restore, and that has the Floralux in it. So I use this every day after my workout. I throw it in my gym bag, and it's super easy for me to just do the 3 steps, and then I'm out the door.
Yeah, Floralux is like that green stuff in plants, like the chlorophyll. My skin is brighter. It almost feels, I know this is weird, but like tighter. Does that mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah. This is not a lie.
It's not a lie, because I've had trouble finding products that really don't agitate my skin over time. Usually it's like flaky, dry, red, annoying.
Usually with the product that I try that's new, I break out when I first start using it.
So true. This has not happened. So you can try BioClarity by going to bioclarity.com and using our code almost30, and you will get your first month of BioClarity for $9.95 plus free shipping. If you're dissatisfied, you'll get your money back, but literally we know you're going to love it. So go to bioclarity.com, our code almost30 for your first month for $9.95. $9.95. Believe it or treat it.
Believe it.
I don't know. All right, back to this episode. So I want to talk a little bit about how people can use mushrooms for performance, and then how people can use mushrooms for healing, whether it's anxiety or sleep, they have trouble sleeping, whatever it is. But I know, so you were a semi-professional runner. That's kind of how, right? Something like,
that's kind of how it started. Now I've been running a lot less. I just did a marathon without training, and I realized that.
Really?
And I was like, I should probably run every now and then. Yeah, I don't run anymore at all. So when I stop, I kind of stop.
It's so hard on my body. I can't either.
Yeah.
Like maybe a treadmill for 10 minutes. I'm good.
I can, but I just got bored of it. And I love trail running still. Like if I would be in the mountains, I would be all day long. But it's a whole nother conversation. And the beach is fun as well. I like it. Barefoot.
Like low impact or less of an impact.
Yeah.
So what types of mushrooms should people be consuming if they're going to be, doing high intensity workouts?
So the most popular mushroom in the US out of these functional mushrooms, surprisingly, is actually cordyceps. So cordyceps. It's kind of a tongue twister. But a lot of people who take it don't even know it's a mushroom. So fitness people, MMA fighters, a lot of athletes, they take it in these stacks, and it's, quote unquote, an adaptogen that is shown to increase your VO2 max up to 15%. So 15. And that's pretty incredible. Like if you get more oxygen into your lungs, anything in your life gets improved. Anything from sexual health to performance, physical performance, but also your cognitive function. Like everything works. Oxygen it's like literally life. So having more oxygen in your lungs, it's pretty powerful. So cordyceps is one of them. And then probably I would say the other one is chaga mushroom, CHAGA, that we mentioned is like the king of mushrooms. Helps really like kind of very high in antioxidants. So like 1 cup would equal to about 30 pounds of keratin antioxidants. Antioxidants really help with like recovery. If you travel a lot, they help with your skin, by the way, as well, so skin recovery and travel is great for them. So those are probably like the performance, quote unquote, mushrooms that if you're an active person, you want to get down with it.
And what if, someone is struggling going on to healing with sleep, or if, I don't know, I haven't read this yet, but in terms of maybe like skin issues or things like that, well, relating to the microbiome is basically where I'm going.
So what you just mentioned before was the reishi mushroom. That's a great nighttime calming mushroom, like really kind of working the endocrine system and reducing stress, hopefully. And so that's great for that. But to the gut biome part is all of these mushrooms, top mushrooms, do kind of 2 things really, really well. One is immune support. So they're immunomodulators. They have these specific compounds called polysaccharides and specific types of polysaccharides like beta-glucans, which are literally among the most researched things in the world. And those modulate the immune system. So if your immune system is low or too high, it kind of bangs back to this like balance, basically. So if you have a flu or a cough, it's the opposite of having an autoimmune disorder or an allergic reaction. So if you have an autoimmune, your own immune system is too active, and if you have a flu or a cough, it's not active at all. So just balancing it, it's so-called immunomodulation. Most immune products are immunostimulants, so they're just going to stimulate your immune system. But if you struggle with some of these other issues, then stimulation is the last thing you want to have in your body. So that's the first thing all of them do. Polysaccharides and immune support. And the other thing, which is where the research right now is in the last few years, so much coming out, is the gut biome improvement. We've known that these polysaccharides get absorbed in the colon, which are obviously where, the gut. And we've also known that they're prebiotics. So prebiotics are food for probiotics, and we've known the importance of inulin and Jerusalem artichoke and all these other things. And they might be even more valuable when changing your gut biome for the better than probiotics. So we've known these two things for a long time, but now the research is really coming out is that they can really improve the gut biome. So this is true for all of them. So if you've had gut issues, definitely like mushrooms like reishi, chaga, shiitake, maitake, these are really showing a lot of promise on improving gut biome for the better.
I love that. And how the microbiome relates to mental health. Was that ever, I guess, a focus like early on in starting the company, like thinking about stress reduction, but kind of on a molecular level, like really getting down to the science of what's happening?
Yeah, I'd say the gut biome is like fairly recent. So it's the last 2-3 years it's really been coming up. I kind of suspected it already. But the what our focus was on these called adaptogens. So some of them are mushrooms, some of them are not, but things that help balance your body from stressors. So kind of protect you from stressors and balance you from stressors. And that was the start from the get-go. That was a big focus area for us. And then a lot of the mushrooms are adaptogens. So it's like a combination of those two. And by the way, gut affects everything, like you said, skin as well. So skin, huge. And chaga, for example, is the highest source of melanin, which is an antioxidant that a lot of people know when you kind of, you are in the sun or whatever, or skin produces, so color pigment. So definitely chaga is great for skin if you want.
You say that in LA. I mean, you just sold like 100 units in that last 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean,
they're like skin, hair, nails. Okay.
So this is the funniest thing. I've been doing some partnership with this skincare brand called Origins.
Yeah, of course.
So they're like a huge Estée Lauder company.
Yeah.
And the #1 global bestseller is called Mega Mushroom. It's a mushroom skincare product, and they sell more than anything else they do.
Shut up. Would you guys ever do skincare?
We're already healing your skin from within, but we'll see.
Amen.
We'll see what we do.
Talk to me about like the wellness mushroom space now. So you guys are obviously at the forefront. What does it look like? Do you see like brands popping up? And I don't mean like, oh, are they your competition? Because I don't think there is that. But just in terms of being innovative and staying true to your brand, has that been challenging? How do you do that? Like, how do you work with your team to really create? I mean, the branding is amazing. I think it draws people in from the get-go, and really makes, this whole complicated, to me, it feels complicated world, this kingdom, really something I'm like, oh, let me learn about it. I'm not really intimidated by it. So what has been the most challenging thing as you grow and as you want to stay true to the brand?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many new mushroom brands right now, and you could get really sad, or fact that they steal the exact same icons we used of the colors. So now a lot of people's chaga products are green and reishi products are blue. And that
how do you not get sad?
My point is, you could direct your energy towards the negative or the positive. And the fact is that the category is booming, and rising tide lifts all boats. And that's where the focus should be. And by the way, you also need to be humble in the fact that we're standing on the shoulders of a lot of giants. Like, there's people that for hundreds of years have dedicated their whole life on researching mushrooms, and we're just basically using that. So everybody steals from everyone. But there's definitely a lot more mushroom companies out there right now. And to your question is like, yeah, you have to make sacrifices. And we did a lot of sacrifices short term to hopefully now be better long term. So for example, since we started, everybody was asking for a ready to drink. It's like, you should do a ready to drink. Or kombucha, by the way, requires mushrooms as well. We're like, hey.
Really?
Yeah. So kombucha, the SCOBY, is a symbiotic relationship between bacteria and fungi. Anyway, so that was like what everybody's been telling me for the last 5 years. And now there's like GT's kombucha has a mushroom line. Rebel Tonics uses mushrooms, for example, and those are sold nationwide. But I knew that space. Like, I had enough business understanding of that, is that it's very expensive to ship water around the country. It's also not the most ecological thing, but it's very expensive. It's quite the battle to get on the shelf. So you have to pay the retailers like stupid money. And I knew that in order to achieve it, we were like self-funded, employee-owned companies. So like, I knew that if we would do that, we would have to raise tons of money and really give the power of the company to the investors, because nobody would otherwise believe in, drinking mushrooms. So you would have to give quite a lot of control, and we just didn't want to do that. So we stayed true to it, and we did what we did. And now these other brands are creating awesome products, and their model is different. They're hedging on a different thing. But at the end of the day, we would have lost the control of the company many, many years ago if we would have gone on that path, and it's just not what we wanted. And maybe we grew a little slower, but at the end of the day, we just launched a mushroom chocolate, which a lot of people also asked. And instead of selling it, we're giving it out for free, because we're like, fuck it, why not? And then people always in the community, they say, is like, hey, you should never start your own retail store because retail is dying. And we just opened a store in Adaptogenic. And like, again, fuck it.
You did?
Yeah.
Where?
It's next to the tasting kitchen. And
wait, shut up.
Yeah,
when did this happen?
A couple months ago. I just came from there. No. And the thing is, we're giving like free mushroom samples. So like, it's free. And again, it's like opposed to everything that people say, but we're like, fuck it, that we can make that decision. We thought it would be fun. So, and, we sell like mushroom pans and mushroom mugs and whatever there. So, but still, it's not
coming tomorrow.
It's not like the best business model, when you give stuff for free, but like, we don't have to ask a permission from anyone. So
I love that bigger picture of like, making it available to as many people as possible, so that I think in the wellness space, it is kind of exclusive in a lot of ways. Like, even with fitness trends like SoulCycle, it's fucking expensive, and not everyone can do it. And it's not in the middle of America,
Yeah. And that's also, by the way, just to kind of like choose your lane in a way, is also understanding what are you trying to achieve, both in life and wellness, and not saying yes to everything. Because if you keep saying yes to everything, you're not going to eventually do what you want to do.
What have you said no to? Not, you don't have to be specific, but like, you know what I mean? Like, what types of things have you had to say no to in order to move forward and kind of stay true to yourself and the brand?
So many things. Like I said, we've said no to a lot of products. We stayed almost like stubborn in doing what we did, both economically, like there's been like crazy offers on investors on our company already. And that would just require that you would give out the control. And it was not just something I would do. So those are examples, but also practically, we never wanted to, our team is fully distributed. So we're all over the world. Like, a lot of the team members are in LA, and we have an office in Santa Monica, but nobody really goes. So like, we gave up certain things in order to achieve a lifestyle that we wanted. We would have grown faster if we would have been in the same office. It would have been faster to, crush it and do stuff and get stuff done. But we valued over the fact that we have flexibility. And basically, I want to take a nap every day. And I do take a nap every day. If I don't, I'm probably pissed off. And I designed my life so I can have a nap every day. So I prioritize napping over growing faster. So we would have grown faster if I wouldn't want a nap. But
what are some of your other non-negotiables in your day?
There's quite a few. I guess sweating, some capacity. Right now it's pretty warm, by the way. Here
I know. I can turn on the air, but then
no, no. This is a great sweat right now. And then
he's losing 10 pounds, guys.
Oh, 100%. So movement, sweating, napping, hydration, connecting with people. Those are pretty obvious ones. Also, like the balance between personal time and then, being in front of people. It's funny, like, some people ask, like, are you an extrovert, introvert? Have you done the Briggs-Myers? Have you done that? I feel like it really depends on which time of the day you're catching me on. Like there's times when I probably score so like I on that scale, and if you catch me on another time, I would be a total E. So I think we've at least sacrificed certain economic things to live the lifestyle we wanted. And also like doing work we want. Like we could have grown, we're often out of stock, by the way. We're always out of stock.
I can imagine.
And it's not a good thing, but it happens. And if we would have had our own factory where we pack the products, we would have a lot more inventory. But we don't want to be in a factory. By the way, then we would also probably had to open it in like Wisconsin. Nothing away from Wisconsin. I've been there. It's great. But we wanted to live where we wanted to live. And some of us live in like Maine. Some lives in Dallas. Somebody's obviously I'm in LA, you're in Venice. And for me, it was important at this time of my life to be around the community. And Venice has like maybe the best community in the world in this space. And maybe in another form of my life, I'll go back and live in the woods where I grew up, or somewhere else. But it's really like picking what's the most important thing for you.
Hey guys, we interrupt this episode to bring you a word from our newest sponsor, Harry's. I don't know if you guys know, but I've been using men's razors forever. I just like them better. I love gifting it to myself, and I also just gave it to my brother. And it's so hard because I never know what to give him, and this is perfect. He's like digging, a beard right now, so he likes to like shave around it, make it perfect, and he just loves this razor. Harry's is making quality products at a super reasonable price. And you can also personalize it to make it feel special. So you can choose a color that's right for him. I gave orange to my brother. And now they have limited edition holiday colors. So stay tuned. In a moment, I'll talk about the holiday gift sets. And you can also personalize it by engraving it. Okay. So this holiday, Harry's is offering custom and limited edition shaving sets that make perfect gifts. The sets come with German engineered 5-blade cartridges that provide a close, comfortable shave. Also a foaming shave gel that smells unreal. Love it. Special limited edition winter chrome and emerald green handles, and an option to personalize it with engraving. Now, these sets come ready to gift in beautifully designed gift boxes, and the gift sets start at just $10. I'll repeat that, just $10. So like they're amazing stocking stuffers or Secret Santa gifts or whatever, or Hanukkah gifts, whatever it is. Okay, so this holiday, Harry's is offering to our listeners $5 off your order when you go to harrys.com/almost30, harrys.com/almost30. This offer is only available for the holidays. So yeah, this holiday, give Harry's and give handsome. Get your holiday shopping done early and take advantage of free shipping. To get a limited edition holiday shave set while supplies last, again, go to harrys.com/almost30 right now. That's harrys.com/almost30. All right, back to this episode. Yeah, how do you balance, I think, being someone who's, especially now that your book, Healing Mushrooms, is out, kind of connecting so much. I feel that way, connecting with writers or, I'm an actress as well. So connecting in that way and really having that time. How do you balance, like in terms of the energy you put out in that way? I struggle with it, so it's hard for me to articulate. Some days I just feel super depleted. So is there...
Because you have to give so much?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So do you have, a meditation practice, a mantra, anything like that maybe you have picked up throughout the years or as you've grown this business where it's been a necessity to kind of balance that feeling of, depleted and you have to wake up the next day and give so much more?
Yeah. So I guess 3 things come to mind, and none of these are probably totally new, but there's things that I think about. Mm-hmm. One is that the basics, the fundamentals. It's if you don't help yourself, it's hard to help others. It's really, I think life is in a way, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, and really helping yourself on the fundamentals, like the non-negotiables that we talked about, and finding out which ones are those for you. And for me, I don't have a meditation practice. I've done it on and off for over a decade, but I found that lying on a nail bed is a thing for me, or connecting in nature was my form of meditation.
A nail bed?
Yeah, I take the nap on a nail bed.
It's the coolest thing I've ever heard. Can you explain that? I know what it is, but what benefits does a nail bed give you for people who don't know?
Relaxes the nervous system. Really, it's like acupressure. It's not that different. In a way, yoga or massage is in a way also acupressure, but you just push certain parts of the body to release energy from other parts of the body.
Do you have a nail bed?
Yes. Or it's a mat that I put on top of my actual bed.
Okay.
But it's made with actual metal nails, not one of those plastic things. So anyway, my point being is that one is basics, you just fundamentals, and having those fundamentals in place. And they don't take a lot of time, honestly. Like the fundamentals are fundamentals for a reason. A lot of people forget them. They start to get clever and try to get like the latest and greatest biohacking thing. But just finding the things that work for you and sticking to them, and just, being diligent on those. Second thing is I would say this concept of like, it's like a DNA string of creating and consuming, and that's like this dance of life, is that you in a creative mode or in a recovery mode, and then you're in the active mode, and then just that middle ground kills you. If you spend a lot of time in that like no man's land, I think that's where that chronic stress hits you. It's okay to be busy in a certain time as long as you balance it out. So the same with me is like right now I'm going around talking about the book, but I mean, this is one of the last podcasts I will do for a while. And after that, I'm not doing them. You say no, and you just understand which phase you're in. So I guess the second part is also to the ability to say no. And then finally, understand the fact that there's no real such thing as balance, in my opinion. It's this pendulum of constantly swinging. So also embracing that is that when you're doing it and consuming you. But just understanding that it needs to swing back. If you're always stuck in that other spectrum, then trouble will come. So I don't think any of those are that radical, but those are things that I think about.
I love that. What was it like writing a book?
Writing was actually really easy because it's like basically like 10 years of knowledge put into a thing. Editing was a bitch. English is
because of what? Oh, okay.
English is not like it's not my fourth language,
Sure.
but the big publishers are such sticklers with all kinds of things. So the editing was pretty painful. I would say I was on a scale of 1 to 10. It was like probably like 7 painful and probably like 8 or 9 rewarding.
How long did it take you?
Well, actually, the writing took like a month.
Yeah.
So it's super quick. People say like,
It's a wonderful read. It's easy to read in the way that like I want to keep reading. It's not one of those things where I'm like, oh, let me read a few pages and I'll put it down and I'll pick it up later. It's like I want to know more. I mean, trust me, almost 30 Nation. It's fascinating. It's fascinating, and to like this kingdom and the fact that we can use it in our everyday lives, both in in your cooking and in what you take to just feel better and just to be better. It's really empowering. So are you like are you like cooking for yourself on the regular?
Yeah.
What's your favorite recently? Like your favorite recipe that you could share with us?
What I've been saying on the book, I really like this avocado mousse. It's like you can use a little bit of a nut milk, coconut oil, and smashed avocado to make like a chocolate mousse. And you can make it even sugar-free by using like stevia or whatever. And if you want to add a little bit of cocoa sugar or whatever, it's possible. But you basically make this fluffy mousse so that it stays a long time in the fridge and it's okay. But the cool thing about it is that it's like high-fat, low-sugar snack that I sometimes crave like between meals. And it keeps my energy. For me, works. For someone, it might not. But it's also a great way I hide herbs in it. So I can add all these bitter, really healthy things because it's like fats and like chocolate really like hide stuff pretty well. So high fat cacao things usually are easiest ways to hide good stuff. So I just throw a lot of stuff there, and that's pretty dope.
I love that.
And then I think the mushroom bacon by putting in the oven, shiitake slices and putting like maple syrup and oil and smoked paprika, and you put it in an oven. It comes these crispy bacons, quote unquote bacons made with mushrooms. That's pretty dope as well.
I told my mom about that.
Yeah.
She's like, "What do you mean?" Like, meanwhile, she's like picking out like the, she's like, which pork do I need? I'm like, Mom, you got to get the shiitake and we're going to make bacon. She's like, you're kidding.
Yeah, it
I was
actually
like,
blows
"Welcome to
people's
LA."
mind. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Is your mom in LA?
She is for the month. She's living
Wow.
here for the month. So
How does she think of this wellness thing?
loves it. Is so open, and I think it's hard because it's every day for us,
Yeah.
So I have to remember, that she has the general like, oh, I'm healthy, right? Like I'll make a salad, I'll do, the salmon and good fats and all of this. But the little things like products that have GMOs and, she's not reading the labels. So I'm trying to not be annoying, but just kind of leading by example, I guess.
Yep.
But introducing her to products like Sigmatic, like, like an essential oil. Just
So that's what I was
she
asking is,
feels.
besides the mushrooms, what's been a thing that she's like totally embraced and is like loving it almost more than you are loving it? Like what's a thing that she fully...
Good question. My mom loves mayo.
Yeah.
So I love Primal Kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
The avocado oil mayo. And I think it tastes better and the chipotle flavor. So it's really been a game changer for her.
It's so good.
It's so good. She'll put it on everything. She's like, hey, where's that mayo? I'm like, you finished it.
Shout out to Mark Sisson and then Mari Shanuda, who helped make that product happen. They're both good friends. So
Mark's going to be on the podcast. So we're so excited
great.
about that. Yeah, there's so many good people in wellness. It's such a fun space to dance around in, I think, not dance, but I think to collaborate in. And I think it could be, like other industries where it is super competitive, but I think there is a support in the wellness space where there's like, with the brands that are going to be around for a long time, there's, an admiration from far away. Like, you go do that, we want to see you succeed. And
that's why I think that's been improved now. I think just having companies be successful. I remember 7-10 years ago, if a company became like a certain size, people start hating on it. And I think that has really changed in the last few years. So it's like people realize that, hey, it's not like nobody's like killing it financially, but nevertheless, like it's better that these companies succeed versus like, a Monsanto or some giant Conagra or whatever. Like it's better that these small brands, instead of one Conagra, there's like 100 companies that do good things and them and their family can pay for their bills. And I think that's been really changing in the last few years. People are realizing. So somebody doing well, it's better because versus some faceless corporation destroying and raping the planet is getting all that money. So I think that's all positive, and I think that's really changing as well, people's mindsets.
I do too. Well, you guys are examples too and modeling that. So I think like we're only going to see it, become better and better, just the whole industry. So that's great.
We're going to spend all our money on free chocolate.
Literally, guys, I got chocolate. Don't tell Krista though. Because I don't want to keep it.
Okay, I'm going on wax on tape to say that I brought for both of you. So if you eat 4 bars of chocolate.
Brought 2 pieces. So.
Yeah. I brought 4, by the way. It's 4. So 2 and 2. Just saying.
You're so generous. I'm actually so excited.
And you can get more at the Shroom Room. So if you stop by.
Wait, I want to plan a little meetup for our peeps in LA.
Come over.
Okay, cool.
Almost 30 mushrooms meetup.
Yeah, perfect. No, I'm dead serious. I did not know that existed. Is it like hidden?
It's kind of...
Wait, isn't that little pop-up that used to be like MeUndies?
No, but it is a little corner. There's a big sign on the street though.
Great.
I
need signage.
Yeah.
I'm special sometimes.
If you go, it's 1629 Apakini Boulevard. It's next to like Tasting Kitchen.
Yeah.
And there's a really cool like shoe store called Saba.
That's right. Okay.
And that little like hidden corner there. And Handle Only with Love. It's like a handmade jewelry store. So it's not that same premise. But
it's the coolest street in America, guys. Okay? Get on it.
And we're there permanently now, so it's not a pop-up.
Really?
Yeah. It's like a permanent location.
This is like breaking news in my world.
Totally.
Okay, cool.
In the Venice, Santa Monica, LA bubble mushroom store.
Well, this has been amazing. I'm so excited for our listeners to just take one step in the direction of using mushrooms in their everyday life. And I think a lot of people are curious, but don't feel like they don't know enough to start. And I don't think you have to know a lot to start.
No, I mean, if there's something, and it doesn't have to be our products, but just giving like a mushroom coffee or a mushroom hot chocolate, you know, having a stress-reducing hot cocoa with cinnamon, or like a, you know, coffee without the jitters with using mushrooms, and just giving it a chance and trying it for 7 days and see how you feel.
I think it's the consistency. Do you find that like the more, I mean, obviously it works on the first go, but I found that using it over this last year and more, you know, concentrated in the last few months, I've just seen overall my sleep improve, my anxiety. I don't have a lot of anxiety, but I notice like when I would have gotten anxious, I kind of am able to be a little bit more even. So do you find like the consistency is key?
Like with anything else,
Yeah.
you know, be it working out or whatever. Like if you do a good workout, you sweat it out and you feel euphoria after, and you feel happy you did it. But probably doing it more often than once is better for you. So yeah, that's the same with mushrooms. You probably, depends how sensitive you are, you're probably going to feel it on the first time. But nevertheless, it's not a thing that you should just do for a couple days. But at least give it a chance.
Well, you can buy Tero's book now, Healing Mushrooms, a practical and culinary guide to using mushrooms for whole body health. And we will also be doing a Sigmatic giveaway. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for being here. So grateful.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you next week. Have a great week. Almost 30 Nation, thanks so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed our interview with Tero, the founder of Sigmatic. Check out sigmatic.com/almost30. Their products, I'm actually right now drinking the lion's mane just to focus, you know. But thank you guys so much for supporting us, for rating and reviewing, subscribing on iTunes, for joining our secret Facebook group, and for becoming patrons. So we have a bunch of patrons that donate a few bucks a month to help this show run, and they receive amazing rewards like throwback episodes, special content, our dad hat, all the things. So thank you guys so much in advance. Patreon.com/almost30. Thank you to our team. You guys know who you are. We this ship would not be running without you, you know? And to our sponsors this week, BioClarity, Fab, Fit, Fun, Sigmatic, and Field Trip. Sometimes we get feedback that there are too many ads. It varies per episode, but for us, you know, we really believe in every product that we promote, and we feel very lucky to be able to share these products with our listeners and give you guys the discount codes. So yeah, thanks for tuning into those too. All right, guys, have a beautiful week, and we'll see you for a new episode next Tuesday. Bye.